In at 10, Jaden Smith, Organite Society. Surprise, surprise, I mean Jaden Smith's father is a Scientologist, so of course Jaden is engaging in some cultish behaviors himself. Now it may not be a cult in the classic sense of the word, but it has been alleged that Jaden Smith is a member of the Organite Society, which according to its Instagram page is a secret society of individuals who create and place Organite to balance Gaia's energies. Now Gaia of course comes from Greek mythology and is the creator of the universe and personification of Earth, aka Mother Earth. Jaden in the past has been pictured countless times with crystal pyramids, which are meant to dispose of negative energy and give out positive vibes. However, this group isn't just about the vibes. According to 2014 reports, the society allegedly introduced Jaden and others to the work of Bhagwan Rajneesh, a controversial spiritual leader that is known in the US as the sex guru due to his focus on sexual liberation. Woohoo! In at 9, Michelle Pfeiffer breatharianism. Way back when Michelle Pfeiffer first arrived on the scene and moved to Hollywood, she was taken in by a couple who practice breatharianism, which is the belief that one can subsist solely on light and air. Yeah, weird, right? The actress stated, I quote, "They worked with weights and put people on diets. Their thing was vegetarianism. They were very controlling. I wasn't living with them, but I was there a lot, and they were always telling me I needed to come more. I had to pay for it all the time I was there, so it was financially very draining. They believed that people in the highest state were breatharian." Eventually, Pfeiffer emancipated from the cult and never looked back. Thank God. Coming in at 8, Rose McGowan, Children of God. Arguably one of the most famous cult goers on our list, Rose McGowan spent 9 years of her life growing up among the Children of God sect in Italy. She wrote extensively about the experience in her biography Brave, but to summarize, the actress claimed that at first the experience was incredibly idyllic. However, she went on to later rebel against the cult's hippie lifestyle and specific gender roles. I quote, "I did not want to be like those women. They were basically there to serve the men sexually." McGowan only managed to free herself from the cult when her father feared that she might be molested by members of the group who were beginning to engage in pedophilia, thus prompting her family to escape and flee to America. I quote, "My dad was strong enough to realize that this hippie love had gone south. Thank God they got out when they did."
At number 7, we have Smallville duo Kristen Kruick and Allison Mack, who were allegedly members of a group known as NXIVM. This quote religious organization brands itself as a self-help group for the rich and famous in accordance with the Albany Times. Apparently of the two, it was reportedly Kristen who initially joined the gathering and then proceeded to later drag Allison along with her. Multiple sources hint that the actresses were recruiting love slaves for their alleged leader Keith's subgroup called The Vow. Inside the practices of The Vow, it's been rumored that the women were constantly degraded, blackmailed, and mistreated. A former NXIVM publicist made claims that the gathering used girls who were not of legal age to fulfill Keith's needs, and the girls were branded with Keith and Allison's initials, whereas it stated that Allison was the visionary behind branding the young girls. Not to mention Keith's arrest in March 2018 in Mexico for trafficking and forced labor, with video footage depicting Allison ready to follow the police if they chose to leave the property with Keith. As for Kristen, she made a tweet which spoke about her enrollment in the group, detailing that the course helped her overcome her shy nature. She also discussed on the social platform her leave and how she maintained minimal contact with anyone still involved. But at the same time, Kristen flat out denied all claims regarding the accusations of her being in the inner circle, as well as her non-involvement as a slave. There was even another former member who confirmed on Twitter that Kristen's non-inclusion being a part of the cult's subgroup, where she was described as a lovely person who would never engage in those kinds of activities, and how she had gotten herself out of the mess before ish got weird.
Coming in at 6, Jayne Mansfield, Church of Satan. Actress Jayne Mansfield famously joined the Church of Satan back in the 60s, a cult which appealed to stars due to its partying ways and the founder, Anton LaVey's media attention. LaVey and Mansfield reportedly filmed satanic rituals involving LaVey wearing devil horns and a cape, and showed Mansfield drinking fake blood against a background of tiger skins. Fun times. It gets even crazier though. Allegedly, the pair went on to put a curse on Mansfield's then boyfriend, which resulted in a series of terrible events following. Mansfield and her boyfriend ultimately died in a gruesome car crash in 1967, with her 3 children, including Mariska Hargitay of Law & Order fame, surviving. Absolutely awful. Was it the work of Satan? You tell me. In at 5, the Arquettes, Arquettes, Sky Months Abode. Did you know that Scream actor David Arquette was born in a commune in Virginia? Yeah, very Far Cry-esque, I have to say. The actor lived there for a brief amount of time with his sisters Patricia and Rosanna, as well as their parents. The commune had no electricity, bathrooms, or running water, with Patricia Arquette stating, "They started it with a bunch of their friends and they wanted to kind of build this utopian society. The family eventually left the commune, with Patricia stating they only left once the other members' true colors began to show. I quote, "My dad said, you bring the seeds of society with you, so you think this is all a great concept, but then suddenly you realize, oh, that dude has a real anger management problem, and this person's an alcoholic, and this person's greedy, and what are we doing here?" The family left the commune and moved to Chicago before eventually settling in Los Angeles. Coming in at 4, Joaquin Phoenix, Children of God. Way back in the 1970s, when Joaquin was just a young boy, he and his family were part of the same cult as Rose McGowan's, the Children of God, which is now known as the Family International. Phoenix in a previous interview talked about his experience in the cult, stating, "My parents had a religious experience and felt strongly about it. They wanted to share that with other people who wanted to talk about their experience with religion. These friends were like, oh, we believe in Jesus as well. I think my parents thought they'd found a community that shared their ideals." Cults rarely advertise themselves as such. It's usually someone saying, "We're like-minded people. This is a community," but I think the moment my parents realized there was something more to it, they got out. After leaving the cult, Joaquin's family changed their name from Bottom to Phoenix. He went on to say, "When people bring up Children of God, there's always something vaguely accusatory about it. It's guilt by association. I think it was really innocent on my parents' part. They really believed, but I don't think most people see it that way. I've always thought that was strange and unfair."
At number 3, we have charmed actress Rose McGowan. Similar to Joaquin Phoenix's childhood, Rose expressed how she also spent her early days in the Children of God. Rose's father partook in the Italian chapter of the cult, reportedly located on the outskirts of Florence. But Rose has been extremely vocal in her time so far regarding her experiences and her successful escape. In a People interview, Rose recounted witnessing sexual misconduct as a child while living among the group. "I remember watching how the men were with the women. They were basically there to serve the men sexually. You were allowed to have more than one wife. The women would go to bars as lures and pick up recruits. They called it flirty fishing." For her escape, Rose took to rebelling by burning a wall made of Bibles and negatively responding to anyone who would ask her if she had, quote, "let God into her heart." By the time Rose was 9, she removed herself from the group with her father once it was clearly brought to light that the group encouraged inappropriate relationships between adults and children.
Coming in at 2, Tom Cruise, Scientology. Of course, we can't have a cult list without throwing Tom Cruise right in the top, can we? Tom Cruise is of course one of the biggest supporters and defenders of Scientology, which according to its wiki page is, I quote, "a body of religious beliefs and practices launched in May 1952 by L. Ron Hubbard. At its core, Scientology is a belief that each human has a reactive mind that responds to life's traumas, clouding the analytic mind and keeping us from experiencing reality." Sounds like a blast. The actor has previously stated that he first became involved in the group back in 1990 when he was married to his first wife, Mimi Rogers. Always blame the woman. According to the actor, he struggled with dyslexia and said that Scientology, specifically the L. Ron Hubbard study tech, helped him overcome his dyslexia. Sounds fishy to me. Now, Cruise doesn't speak too much about his beliefs, but he has called Scientology a beautiful religion. Now, of course, there have been countless reports about the true secrets of the group, with many actors and celebs fleeing their grasps over the years, including Leah Remini and Katie Holmes. Many members have gone missing and discovered dead, with many accusing the cult of being behind it. It is known that they don't like people deserting, with reports of them even pushing people into marrying, with it public knowledge that Tom Cruise interviewed people before marrying his ex-wife Katie Holmes. So weird. And finally, coming in at number 1, Allison Mack, NXIVM Cult. Star of the 2001 hit WB show Smallville, which ran for 10 seasons from 2001 to 2011, Allison Mack played the fan favorite best friend Chloe Sullivan. However, little did fans know this actress was engaging in some bizarre antics behind the scenes. Mack was allegedly a member of the NXIVM Cult, which was branded as a self-help group for popular celebrities. Mack reportedly joined the cult back in 2005, during which time she was reported to be used to recruit sex slaves for the cult's leader Keith Raniere. According to reports, the women were routinely degraded, blackmailed, and sexually abused by the leader and other members, including Mack. Many of the women were underage and were branded with Raniere's initials as well as Mack's, with many of the women stating that the branding was Mack's idea. Raniere was ultimately arrested back in March 2018 for sex trafficking and forced labor, while Mack was arrested just a month later. The actress pleaded guilty to racketeering charges in April 2019 and is currently awaiting awaiting sentencing in September of this year.
At number 10, we have former Bachelor Australia contestant Keira Maguire, who revealed in 2016 that she was brought up in a polygamous cult in Victoria. The affiliation, known as the Seaside Sect, was founded by Keira's father and included his 9 wives. One of those wives was Keira's mother, and Keira's father was also detailed to have 64 children and endlessly devoted followers who were drawn to his quote religious teachings, with claims that he was the reincarnation of the Lord. When Keira spoke about her upbringing in a statement for Women's Day, she explained, quote, "I am not in a position to comment. My mother removed my family from that environment when I was 5 years old, over 25 years ago. I was brought up by my mother and grandmother in Brisbane in a loving, caring, and compassionate household." At number 9, we have Joker's Joaquin Phoenix, who detailed to Playboy in a 2016 interview of him being born into the children of God. The Walk the Line actor says, "When people bring up children of God, there's always something vaguely accusatory about it. It's guilt by association. I think it was really innocent on my parents' part. They really believed, but I don't think most people see it that way. I've always thought that was strange and unfair." CLG first came to light as Teens for Christ and is now known by its latest name of the Family International. This organization started as a method of messaging known as flirty fishing, which was explained to have used intercourse to depict God's love and mercy to gain new believers. In the same Playboy chit-chat, Joaquin also disclosed his parents' gradual realization of the disturbing nature of the group's practices. While Joaquin said he believed his parents' original thoughts of finding a community who shared their own ideals, on the opposite end, cults rarely brand themselves as just that. Instead, they deem themselves as quote like-minded people, but Joaquin detailed that as soon as his parents caught on to something darker happening, they got themselves out right away. At number 8, we have Stranger Things Joyce Byers actress Winona Ryder. Now, unlike a lot of other celebs on today's list, Winona seems to share great sentiment and respect for her former lifestyle. The group, known as the Rainbow Family Commune of Living, is located in California and is described as more of a community rather than a cult. Still, Winona was 7 when her family relocated into the Rainbow organization, and alongside 7 other families, Winona was reportedly living without television, music, and electricity across a 300-acre plot of land. According to the actress, she spent most of her developing years taking up an interest in her now career and reading, following her mother showing her and her siblings movies that were screen projected inside the farm's barn. When Winona recalled her childhood in a Dazed interview, she was incredibly fond and spoke highly of Rainbow. Quote, "It was pretty incredible. We were in 380 acres of redwoods and there was no electricity."
In at 7, Glenn Close, moral rearrangement. Not Glenn. When this Hollywood legend was just 7 years old, she and her family were part of the radical conservative missionary group called Moral Rearrangement, which has since been renamed to Initiatives of Change. Classy. The actress spoke on the topic stating, "It's cult living where you're told what to say and how to act. It's very sexually repressive, and yet you're supposed to be remaking the world, but you remake the world in someone else's eyes. So you give up your individuality. As a child, it's catastrophic because that's where you're trying to figure out who you are. I think I still have elements of that." Glenn was stuck in the cult for over 10 years, with her eventually leaving at the age of 22, with the actress stating that it negatively affected her for years to come. I quote, "I wouldn't trust any of my instincts because my beliefs had all been dictated to me."
At number 6, we have Breathe Again singer Toni Braxton. Now, Toni released a memoir titled Unbreak My Heart, which revealed the R&B singer's involvement with the Pillar of Truth, a Pentecostal apostolic group, alongside her family as a young girl. Toni explained how her family soon fell into religious extremism. The behavior in question was known as the women and their nakedness needing to be covered up fully, and almost everything was deemed as evil. This evil included seemingly normal occurrences like going to the movies, for example. In light of her experience, Toni described connecting her faith and her devotion to God with that of judgment, anxiety, and guilt. Apparently, the group also alleged to require its members to speak in tongues. Reportedly, Toni had faked this at a mere 8 years old just to keep up, explaining, "The ties that bound us together became the ties that strangled us." As per the Daily Mail, the Braxton family first became a part of 2 more repressive churches before they settled themselves into the Truth Foundation. At number 5, we have Batman's Batwoman actress Michelle Pfeiffer, Michelle has not been quiet about her disclosure that she was once an addition to a cult in 2013. Apparently this group was brought up by two personal Hollywood trainers, and they would ritualistically practice breatharianism. The practice stems from one's ability to survive without food or water and sustain the belief that sunlight was the cure to providing everything the body needed. Michelle spoke with The Telegraph for an interview in 2013 regarding this, where she described how the group worked with weights and put people on diets. According to this interview, Michelle said they wanted sole vegans and were incredibly controlling. Michelle continued by explaining that she wasn't living with the group, but that she was there quite often, and how the group often pressured her to show up more frequently. Michelle said she was paying to be there at the time, so the experience was financially draining, among her other hardships. Lastly, Michelle spoke about how the group's highest state was breatharian. At number 4, we have Academy Award nominated Fatal Attraction actress Glenn Close, who opened up to The Hollywood Reporter in 2014 to reveal her position in her childhood cult, how she escaped the group, and the psychological damage it caused her. Glenn's father, Dr. William, reportedly brought his family to the right-wing religious group Moral Rearmament, or MRA for short, when Glenn was merely 7 years old. Quote, "For years, I wouldn't trust any of my instincts because my beliefs had all been dictated to me. You basically weren't allowed to do anything, or you were made to feel guilty about any unnatural desire. If you talk to anybody who was in a group that basically dictates how you're supposed to live and what you're supposed to say and how you're supposed to feel from the time you're 7 till the time you're 22, it has a profound impact on you. It's something you have to consciously overcome because all of your trigger points are wrong."
Coming in at 3, Winona Ryder, Rainbow Family. Very few people know that this Heathers and Beetlejuice actress spent part of her childhood living among the redwoods in a California commune called Rainbow. There was no television and no electricity, with the actress staying there for a year, during which time she lived in a house with a car on 300 acres of land, shared by other houses. She stated, I quote, "It was just tagged as a commune because people wanted to tag it as that. They wanted to make me out as a flower child, but it was an amazing way to grow up." Now, the actress stated that back in the 90s, however it seems as though her opinions have changed over the years, with the actress giving another interview in 2015 to Metro News, stating that she did live on a commune for 4 years with 7 other families. I quote, "When I say I lived in a commune for 4 years, people think I was in a cult, and it was not a cult at all." Good to know. I just don't believe you.
At number 2, we have the Arquette family, who disclosed that they were once a part of an unnamed cult started out by a bunch of friends. Actor David Arquette was born and brought up in a Virginia commune where he was living with his sisters Patricia and Rosanna and their parents. Patricia sat down with Oprah in 2011 to explain how said group desired to create a utopian society, where she added that the commune had no bathrooms, electricity, or running water. Patricia also revealed on a WTF with Mark Maron episode that her family parted ways with the commune when the members of the group's true colors began to reveal themselves, where she said, "My dad said you bring the seeds of society with you, so you think this is all a great concept, but then suddenly you realize, oh, that dude has a real anger management problem, and this person is an alcoholic, and this person's greedy, and what are we doing here?" Following their Virginia leave, Patricia touched on the topic of her family's return to Chicago before they finally settled in LA. At number 1, we have the Smith siblings, brother Jaden Smith and sister Willow Smith. While their group is not officially deemed as a technical cult in today's day and age, there have been allegations that both siblings are involved as active members in the Arquette Society. According to the group page's Instagram, they are a quote, "secret society of individuals who create and place Arquette to balance Gaia's energy." According to the group page's Instagram, they are a quote, "secret society of individuals who create and place Arquette to balance Gaia's energies." The practice referred to as Gaia in question stems from Greek mythology and is the creator of Earth's personification and the universe, further known as Mother Earth. Both Jaden and Willow have been photographed with the crystallized orgone pyramids, which supposedly dispose of negative energy and instead push out positive vibes. However, according to arguable, believable, or unbelievable reports, the group delves into far more than just their unofficial trademark of good vibes only.